Hello everyone, this is Ashee from Crafting with Ashee and welcome to this video. This is a new paper crafting card making tutorial featuring the Playing in the Rain stamp set from Stampin' Up. And the inspiration for this little bunny was that he's singing in the rain, and I think he's just so cute here, singing away as the raindrops fall on him, and it just reminded me of a bunny version of Gene Kelly. So we're going to do a little bit of stamping for the background. And first, we're going to put this piece here in our Stamparatus. And this is a piece of balmy blue cardstock. This measures 14.35 centimeters by 10. We're going to use this stamp set, this lovely background stamp called Drizzling Droplets. And we're just going to put that over the top of our piece of cardstock. And we're going to be now stamping using some Versamark clear ink. So I'm just prepping my cardstock using my powder tool. So the powder will only stick where there's Versamark ink. I'm going to give this a really good ink up because this is a very large background stamp and you want to make sure you've inked it up all over. So one of the reasons I'm using a stamping tool is that it'll allow me to stamp it again if I haven't totally covered it properly in Versamark ink. So I'm just giving that a really good press down, maybe a couple of thumps as well. And there we go. You can't see anything on the camera, but it is there, I promise you. So now I'm going to use some clear embossing powder, and as if by magic, you see all the stamping up here. Give that a little tap to get rid of the excess. There we go. And now we're just going to try and filter this back into our container without it getting everywhere. Not always the easiest thing for me. Okay, going to give our stamp set a little clean up using the simple chamois, as I'm a great believer in cleaning up as you go along. So I'm putting things away as you go along, therefore nothing ever gets lost, as it is where it should be. Okay, so now we're just going to heat set this. So I'm going to use my heat tool and I'm going to let this heat up for at least about 30 seconds before I take it to the paper. And then we're just going to let this, as you can see, heat it up, because this way when it gets to the paper it's already good and hot and there's less chance of your paper actually warping. And you will see when the embossing powder is set, because it will change color, it will go clear, and I will actually go a darker color of the balmy blue than the balmy blue that has no embossing powder on it. So you can see here where it has melted, where you can see the droplets now suddenly appear on the balmy blue cardstock. Isn't that cute? Okay, so I sometimes just go back over making sure I've caught all the little bits, because this is a large background stamp and you don't want to miss anything. Okay, so there we have our heat embossed background. So now I'm going to just check everything's okay. I think my craft mat wanted to warp a little from all of that heat, but anyway, it was perfectly fine afterward. So I'm going to bring in my silicone mat. Now we're going to do the Playing in the Rain stamp set, and we want to do a little bit more heat embossing to this, and you could have done this at the same time, but I felt it was easier to do each piece at a different time. And we're just going to stamp here, rainy days are better with you, and stamping that again in clear Versamark ink, but this time we're going to heat emboss using the white embossing powder. So put that back in its home, and same as before, going to come in with our heat tool. Now here I do have something called over stamping, i.e. I do have some embossing flakes where I don't want them to be some flakes of cardstock. So as you could see, of powder. So as you could see, I just used a small paintbrush to get rid of those. And if you do that before you heat emboss, you won't even see where you made the boo-boo. Time for some stamping. And as I said, we're using the Playing in the Rain stamp set that I love. And we're going to be stamping in Memento Tuxedo Black because we're going to be colouring using the Stampin' Blend alcohol markers. So I'm stamping my bunny and also stamping some clouds and also some of these puddles, and then bunny's umbrella as well. Okay, so now we're going to colour in using the Stampin' Blend alcohol markers, and these are they here. These are lovely markers. I find them really easy to use and to blend. They're my favourite alcohol marker. And you can see here I'm just going in with the light and the dark of each colour. So this one here is balmy blue, and I just went in with the light colour and then added some highlights with the dark colour. Sometimes I start with the light, sometimes I start with the dark. It really just depends how I'm feeling that day. You can see here I'm just doing his ears here, and these were petal pink, so you can hardly see anything on the camera, and a little bit of petal pink for his cheeks. And he's going to be a white bunny rabbit because I don't know, I've always envisioned this little fella as a white bunny rabbit, but there we go. So now we're going to do his little coat, and I wanted a pop of colour on this card. So this is real red, my favourite red. I absolutely love real red. And I'm just going in with a lighter colour here and colouring in his lovely little raincoat. And then I'm just going to use the darker of the colours here, again, dark real red, just to create a border around his coat, to add some shading and highlight some detail. And then I'm just going to blend this out using the lighter colour again. There we go. And what am I going to do next? I'm going to go back to his ears. And all I'm doing here is adding a little bit of what's called soft sea foam. And this is what I use when I want something to look like white. I tend to use the very light soft sea foam, and then I use my blender pen just to blend everything out. So this is the colourless lifter or the blender pen, and I use this just to blend this colour out, and that means you just get a very hint of a very light colour on the fur. It still appears white, but you still get a little bit of shading and definition. So time for the umbrella. The umbrella is going to be Daffodil Delight. So I'm just going in with the lighter colour here, and then I'm going to blend it out using the darker colour, as you can see there. Okay. And then same trick with my clouds. I'm going also in with that soft sea foam, just with the lighter colour, just around the edges so it doesn't appear so white. Still want to get the impression that it's white, but you want to have some depth. You want to have some depth and dimension to your image as well. And then I'm going to blend that in with the colourless lifter, and that just gives your clouds a little bit of something that makes them look a tiny bit more real than they otherwise would. Okay, so there's all our colouring done. So we're going to cut these out using the matching dies. These are the Playing in the Rain matching dies. And as if by magic, here is everything cut out and done. Now I'm bringing back our background here, and I'm going to bring in my balmy blue, what do you call this, ink pad, and we're just doing a little bit of ink blending, and where there is heat embossing, it will resist your ink blending, so it'll give an embossed resist effect. But this just helps to darken patches of my background, and it'll give this balmy blue cardstock a little bit more depth and dimension. If you're enjoying the video, I'd be grateful if you could give it a thumbs up so YouTube know. Please don't forget to subscribe to future videos and hit that notification bell. So here you can see me using a dry cloth just to wipe away any ink that's sitting on top of the heat embossing. So now we're going to start to build our card. Our card base is basic white, thick basic white. So this is a standard A6 card base. So that's an A4 sheet cut in half and then folded in half. So we're just going to put that down like that. And I'm just giving my card base a little extra burnish. Now we can start to arrange our little bunny rabbit and these umbrella and our clouds and our puddles and all of that good stuff. And if you want a link to all the supply lists, they are linked and listed below in the description box. You can also find them again on my blog post, and you'll find the link to that again in the description box, as well as the link to all my social media, such as my Facebook page, Instagram, and Pinterest. So do check all of that out. So here you can see I've popped my rabbit up on some dimensionals. So these are foam pads, and that just gives him a little bit more interest here, and it does mean I can tuck things in and around him as well. So I never know how good all my dimensionals off unless I start touching them to see. And there we go, there's the little umbrella. Isn't it cute? One cloud. Second. And here's the third cloud. So we're going to use those little puddles that we cut out just to give our little bunny rabbit something to stand on, so it doesn't look like he's floating in air. So there we've got one puddle. And there's another puddle. And I'm just trying to decide if I want the last one or where I want it. Just tearing up my dimensional slightly so I can stick my puddle behind, tuck it in. Okay, so there we go. That's our card. We're just going to do a little bit of finishing touches. And these are iridescent faceted gems. And I'm just going to put a few here and there, dotted around our image. There we go. So I hope you liked that. If you did, as I said, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and do subscribe to future videos. All the information you can find is listed and linked below in the description box. So thank you again, and until next time, enjoy being creative. Bye.